All right. Thank you everyone for joining us on today's stream. We are going to be talking about how to get started with open source, and we have Sonia from the open source team here at Shardeum leading the presentation today. So, um, Sonia, I think we can get started. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Kenny. So, hi everyone. I hope you all are doing great. My name is Sonia, developer program engineer at Shardeum. And today in this stream, we are going to talk about how to get started with open source. So, who are we? One of you? Yes, you heard it all right. We are a community of individuals just like you, each with our own unique skills, background, and interest. Whether you are a developer, designer, a writer, or someone who is just starting out in the tech world, there is always a place for you in the open source. 5 years back, I was also sitting and listening in the audience, just like you guys, about the open source. The things like open source, contributing in the code base, they were very overwhelming to me in the beginning. I hope some of the people in the audience can also relate to me. Just to make sure that we are all on the same page, I will begin this with the definition of open source. I can assure you that you have heard the word open source a lot. And even if you haven't, it's exactly as it sounds. The code is publicly available. It's built by the developer community, for the developer community, visible to everyone. The source code for software that is open source is completely free. We can use it to copy, modify, study, and improve. So basically, open source is very powerful. It is sort of a model for making as well as sharing content and software in a way that basically lets you build collaboratively as well as publicly. Basically, it allows you to step into a group, say, and you learn with the another person, even though you will be worlds apart. So, open source, it sounds very great, but many of you might think that I am not a good programmer to contribute to open source. I don't know the project well enough to contribute. I don't write code, so I have nothing to contribute. Contributing is hard and intimidating. Feelings like you don't know project well enough is understandable, but it shouldn't hold you back. Open source basically thrives on collaboration and the community support. You don't need to be an expert from the day one. You can start by exploring the project, asking questions, and learning from others. As you become more familiar with the project and its goals, you'll find more and more opportunities to contribute in ways that basically aligns with your interest and expertise. So, we talked about intimidating. It's intimidating for everyone, even for the people who have been contributing for many years. Uh, so, it may seem daunting at first. Remember that you are not alone. The open source community is incredibly supportive and welcoming. There are many resources available to help you get started, such as documentation, tutorials, a one-on-one mentorship program. So someone who has been involved into various open source projects and multiple communities, I believe there are many ways to get involved, contribute to it. And in this presentation, as we go deep dive, I'm going to share a few tips with you all to get you most out of this experience. So let's see how can we make it easier. How can we go from the state of overwhelming to the state of being comfortable? So, talking about blockchain, people are often surprised when they find out that blockchain technology, which is known for its security, is built on the open source software code. In fact, I believe that this openness is what creates this security as well as reliability. One of the core values of building anything as open source is gaining efficiency, creating a community of developers with the different perspectives and skill sets, all working on the same code base. Uh, Let me try to break this down with the help of an example. One of the most popular operating system, Linux. How many of you are using it? Linux powers the servers of many websites like Google, Facebooks, and thousands of other websites on which we also share our personal information, and it's totally built over open source. Chromebooks, Android phones, they use an operating system which is based on Linux. It's open source but yet so secure. But do you know that Linux is not owned by any corporation? It's free to use. It's created by collaborative efforts. So the developers from 1700 to 1800 companies, the number might be wrong, are contributing to the code base. So that's basically how the open source software works. Tons of people contribute, constantly add, modify, and build off the open source code base to create new apps and platforms. Let's go to the next slide. Mentor and be mentored. So one of the most rewarding aspects of participating in open source is the opportunity to do both teaching and learning from others. When you work with others on a project, you are just not getting the job done. You're also sharing knowledge and skills with each other. I believe that teaching is the best way to learn something. It's like teaching someone how to ride a bike. By explaining the process, we reinforce our own skills. Teaching isn't, as I said, isn't about just helping others. It's also about helping yourself. When you teach something, you understand it more better. And also, let's not forget that it's perfectly okay to ask for help whenever you need. We at Shardeum have people, have expertise people who can mentor you, help you get started. It's like getting a push on your bike when you're learning to ride. It makes things basically easier and helps you get better faster. So, I have said this before as well. If you have any questions at any point, you are blocked somewhere, you want to add or improve any feature to the project code base, feel free to connect with us on GitHub or Discord. We are here to help you out. Next slide. Connect with fellow people. Open source projects are more than just repositories of code. They are warm, welcoming communities where people come together to learn, grow, and create. Regardless of your background or experience level, you will find that open source communities are filled with supportive individuals who are eager to help you succeed. As you keep contributing to open source projects, you will find opportunities, to build meaningful connections with the people from around the world. Open source isn't just about code; it's about people. Yes. So open source projects are not just about code. They are about the people who are behind this code. Developer communities in open source are known for their warmth and inclusivity. Where newcomers are welcomed and experienced developers, they are valued mentors. It's a space where collaboration thrives and everyone has a chance to contribute. Now the question comes how to find the repositories to contribute. How can you get started? I say start small. So basically, you can start with improving the software you are using. So while you are building on Shardium or going through its documentation, its website, you might come across bugs, any sort of missing information. Try to look at the source code to understand what's causing that bug. Once you have identified the issue, uh, try to open a pull request or submit a patch to the project's repository. Keep an eye out for more bugs and opportunities to contribute. We are also working on creating some good first issues for you all to contribute and be part of the Shardim community. Next slide, empower yourself. Um, also the common misconception which prevails among us that open source is only about coding and contributing to open sources that you need to contribute in code, which you can absolutely do if you love doing that. But in fact, I'll say apart from coding, there are other areas of the project like documentation, accessibility, helping the end users, and many other things that are mostly neglected. So even if you're offering your contributions in those areas, they are also counted. That means you are already doing great. No contribution is small and every contribution matters. Improve existing skills. Uh, you know, till now, we have talked about what is open source, how you can contribute towards it, but why you should contribute to open source. Basically, open source is a safe place to improve and build skills. It's not only about code, it's about helping the community. You can help a project by, contributing in a lot of different ways. You can submit the patch, you can file the bugs in the project, you can triage the issues, help other people, translate the project, help with writing documentation or organizing any event. It's kind of nice to know that you have done even it's a small part of it. No matter what's your skill set or level of expertise, there is a role for you in the open source community. It's a place where you can learn, grow, and make a meaningful impact while collaborating with like minded individuals from around the world. Build your digital footprint. So, as I have talked before as well, whether it's learning to design, coding, improving UI, maybe writing documentation or organizing any sort of event, you can learn it by working on an open source project. As you know that the work we do in the open source is public, which means we can showcase our work to the hiring managers as well. GitHub is kind of like resume. Nowadays, recruiters stalk people actively on the GitHub. It shows the recruiters the quality of the code you are writing, how you are communicating effectively, and how you approach the solutions for the complex problem. And if you know, one of the greatest way to learn programming is to do more code, more practice. The other way is to know how the other people are doing it, how they are approaching the solution for any particular problem. So I can safely say that open source is a platform that offers you both. So, up to this slide, we have talked about what is open source, why you should contribute to open source, how it can help you in building your resume in public and collaborate with others. In the next slide, we'll understand what are the different open source roles we have, and we'll help you with some of the resources in getting started with Shardeum as well. So, open source role, what does everyone do? The first one is the author, people or entity that created the project. It's their initial idea and the people who set the project in motion. Next one is owner. Owners, they hold the administrative ownership of the project. They oversee its direction, manage permissions, and ensure that the project's integrity and sustainability is there. The third one is the maintainers. They are basically the guardians of the project, responsible for its day-to-day management. Maintainers, they provide vision, guidance, and leadership. They review contributions, resolve any issues, and basically push the project towards its main goal. It's also common for the maintainers to be either author or owner. Next up, we have contributors. That's you. Contributors are basically the lifeblood of open source projects, whether it's writing code, fixing bugs, improving documentation, or providing feedback. Every contribution moves the project forward. And the last, we have community members. Once again, that's you. Community members are the users, advocates, and supporters of the project. They provide valuable feedback, report bugs, and spread the word, basically nurturing a thriving ecosystem around the project. So I hope the open source roles are clear. Next we have getting started with Shardium. So, when you think of Shardium, you should think of the internet. It's not owned by anyone, it's owned by everyone. The guiding principles of Shardium include being open. At Shardium, we want to be as open as possible when it comes to ideas, any sort of feedback, or just about anything. Collaborative, we are here to help every individual or group who is building on top of Shardium. By building on top of EVM, it was sort of the first step towards committing to be collaborative. We want to be ensured that we are building upon the work of others, and similarly, we want others to build upon the work we do. At last, we have community driven. Shardeum is a community driven project ensuring transparency and open communication. Also, we have opened up most of our projects from the Shardium website all the way to our global server. This is in accordance with our commitment to building the future of Shardium. You can find all the Shardium projects available on our GitHub account, github.com/Shardium. There you can find all the contributing guidelines, code of conduct, readmes, proper installation, everything that you need. And also, if anyone hasn't created a GitHub account yet, create one. Join the Shardium community on GitHub. Uh, Explore the project documentation and the available resources available. Find some issues to work on. And as I mentioned before, we are also listing few good first issues to help you get started. Making your first contribution. So, as I mentioned before, start by exploring the Shardium repositories that align with your interest. Follow the project's documentation to set up your development environment. Find some good first issues to work on. If you get into any blockers, you can reach out to us on GitHub or Discord. We are here to help you out. And I hope I have given you enough context to start with open source and why you should contribute to open source. And I would be really happy to see some of you implementing this as well. So thank you once again, and I am looking forward to seeing you around.
So,
I'm gonna go back and stop sharing my screen.
thank you very much, Sonia. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Everyone who's in the audience, thank you for joining us today. What we do is use this live stream as an opportunity to build in public and build with everyone else to show you what we're working on here at Shardium and take you along the journey. What we want to do today, specifically, is to help you get started with contributing to open source. And we have a couple of ways that we're doing that. We have a mentorship program that we are organizing for everyone who's interested in contributing to open source as a way of giving back to the community or improving your resume or improving your own professional experience. One of the ways we're doing that is we have an OSS channel available that we use on Discord. If you're not on that channel, let me see if I can mention it in the chat. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I can mention it in the chat and I have. So if you're currently here, please join the OSS Devs channel. We are going to continue to have sessions like this. We're going to do mentorship programs where we show you how to make your first contribution, how to send a PR, how to find a good first issue to contribute to, all the many different things that can help you as an open source developer. And we have other incentives as well. We are going to be issuing LinkedIn badges to everyone who manages to make a contribution to Shardium, and you're going to have it on your LinkedIn that, hey, this person has contributed to a layer 1 blockchain, and that could help you in different ways. So if you're not on that channel, please click on it now. I've put it in the chat. Join that channel, and when we have subsequent events like this, you'd be the first to know. And for all of the other plans and programs that we have coming up, it will be there. We will be sharing it there as well. Then someone is asking about ongoing. Can I participate in the ongoing testnet? I think Shiwami is typing a response for you in the chat. But yeah, we're trying to get to mainnet as quickly as we can. And making Shardium open source is one way that we're going to do that, right? We want contributions from our community. So Shardium is owned by all of us, and we will all collectively build towards getting it to the point where we want it to be. And we are inviting all of you, right, to join us and build Shardium. Regardless of your technical experience, there's always something that you can do to help the community. We're looking for people who can design. We're looking for people who can write documentation. We're looking for people who can look through, doing research as well. Look through our code bases, look through our services, look through our website, and see if you can spot any errors or things that can be done to make things better. Look through our community on Discord, see if there's ways we can improve our services. So we're looking for people with all different skills and all different professional backgrounds. So there's always something that will be available for you to help with. We're going to be doing all of that in that OSS devs channel that I've linked in the chat. So if you haven't joined us, please join us there. The goal is to use that channel as a way for all of us to work together towards getting Shardeum to be where we want it to be. So if you want us to get to mainnet as fast as possible, then join us as a contributor and help us get mainnet so that we can all, go live on Shardeum and have the whole world know what we're working on. We're going to have another session like this time next week. That session is going to be on the network status monitoring page that we've been building for some time now. If you haven't seen it, actually, maybe let me share my screen briefly and show you what that looks like. I think it's this one. All right, so this is currently all the open source repositories that we've got on Shardeum. So you can look through any of these and we're going to start populating issues on them so that you can look through the issues we have and see if there's anyone that, this is improve the contributing.md file. This is something that is very good for a beginner or someone who just starting out their open source journey. You could immediately take a look at this and say, okay, I'm going to send a PR that does XYZ thing. And if you don't know how to send a PR, we've got Sonia, if you can put a link in the chat to the BIP live stream playlist on YouTube. We have a session covering how to, send your PR and, basically get started with contributing to open source. So this is some of the ones that we've already added. We're going to be adding more to show you how you can start contributing to Shardeum in your own little way. The repository that I was talking about just now is the network status repository. We are building a network status page for Shardeum to monitor all of our different services. We've been building it in public on this stream for the last month or so. We're going to continue doing that next week. We're going to add like a header and a footer and a couple of other different services to it so that we build it up to be the network status page that we are all happy and proud of. So thank you all for joining us today. If anyone has any questions, you can ask in that OSS devs channel. I'm going to put it here in the chat again, so it's easy to find for anyone who's looking. Ask us any questions about what we're working on, the things we're building, our open source efforts, and we'll be happy to help you all. So this is what we've got for you today. Join us again the same time next week. If you want to be reminded when these events happen, please go to the events tab in Discord and just click on interested. So that way Discord will remind you when the event starts next week. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to having you again next week. Sonia, do you have any closing words?
I think you have covered it all. Thank you once again for joining. I'm looking forward to see everyone around.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.